Chris, it's an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you for coming on the Winner's Paradigm, brother. I got to know you personally through Alpha Slice Incubator and really just listening to you. And I was like, dude, you're fucking badass. And then, especially seeing your journey about the injuries and so forth. So, before I jump ahead of myself and hype you up too much, would you mind giving us a brief intro, who you are, what you're passionate about today, brother?
100%, man. Well, hey, thank you for having me, dude. And it's an honor as well. Love following your page and everything you're about. So glad to be here. Yeah, let's see, man. Chris Gormley, father first. I always say that. Got a 6-year-old little girl, big on family. And yeah, I'm just passionate about trying to help other people, man. And honestly, just be the best version of yourself and pursue your truest potential. I never say fullest potential because I don't think we're ever going to reach it, but truest, getting real with yourself and just trying to, like I said, just teach other people to do the same. So I'm a real estate developer. I'm a high performance coach, and like I said, man, just want to live life, help people, and push everything I can to the brink. That's where all the glory and the fun is. So
Hell yeah, brother. And while you're doing that, I'm adding you on Instagram, getting this flowing.
hell
But
yeah,
that's what I resonate with. Number one, first is that mission, what you're called, but really with the energy you speak with, brother. You're cool, calm, collected. I don't think I've ever seen you elevate just being angry or anything like that. Like you're in this stoic state, you're showing up as the best way possible. Let's start there, brother. How did you develop that man that you needed to be and then started embodying those characteristics every day?
man, getting tired of being a fucking psycho growing up. No, there is some truth to that, honestly, dude. So I grew up single parent household. My dad wasn't around. It was my mom. She wore both hats. Food stamps, welfare. Not a very fruitful upbringing. But I look back and it was the most fruitful thing I could have gone through. So, dude, a lot of yelling, very low emotional intelligence household. Dude, I've called my mom every name in the book. Like it's hurtful to say, but that's just the truth. And so very toxic growing up. And it just, you get to a point, man, where you just not only become sick and tired of it, but you become sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And so, I went through my 20s having fun, partying, went to college, got my degree, went out to Southern California, did all that stuff. And I think really getting into the professional career, getting into medical devices, I was around people that grew up differently than me. Although it was uncomfortable, it was something to strive for. And then in 2015, I was in my mid 20s. I got into a motorcycle accident that almost killed me. We can get into that later, but going through an experience where you're lying in an intersection where you truly don't know if you're going to make it through or not, I came back from unconsciousness and just didn't know what was going on. And it does something to you, man. It teaches you that life is short. It can be taken away at any point. And, while I think emotions are necessary, I don't ever shy away from anger and all that. And by no means am I perfect, man. I still flip out from time to time, but it helped me understand that, like, being in that middle ground most of the time is the best. Not riding too high, but not swinging too low. And then 2 years after my accident, I had my daughter. I became a girl dad, and that was the biggest game changer for me. Like the biggest game changer, man. Looking at her, asking, ultimately she's going to attract what she grows up around, which is me. Am I the man? If she were to bring home basically me, would I be happy with that man? And in a lot of ways, I had to admit, absolutely not. And so that helped me just kind of get even more into like the stoicism. And again, man, I'm not perfect at it, but I just, like I said, living in that middle threshold most of the time, it allows for so much of the chaos. And then, to wrap it up, a few years after my daughter was born, I became a full-time entrepreneur. And oh fuck, dude, entrepreneurship, you have to have some stoicism or you won't last in this game. So
A
just
100%, brother.
yeah,
It's funny. I don't mean to interrupt real quick,
no, you're
but I
good.
literally was talking to a client about that this morning, and I was like, "It's the mindset." Like for me, I'm over here, mindset coach, and I'm helping people, and we're talking about the podcast, and I'm like helping them heal and talk about it. And I'm
Yeah,
like, "But you still have to reframe your mindset because for me, I
100%.
was talking to somebody, and he's like, I couldn't do a 24-day fast, and I'm in my head, I'm like, bro, what the fuck you mean you can't do a 24? Like that shit's so easy." But then it's like, hey, we at two, we're at that point. So it's funny because that
Yeah.
you mentioned that because that was something for me the other day, or excuse me, this morning actually, where I was just sitting there and I was like, fuck, dude, certain people process things differently. We
Yeah.
have to understand that if we're gonna help from that point. So I love that.
And dude, that right there, I'm glad you hit on that, man, because one of the biggest things I'm going through right now is how fucking hard leadership is. Dude, it's so hard to lead people because everyone wants to be led a certain way. And you can bulldoze your way through leadership. Like giving people that tough love, whether they want to hear it or not. And I think in a lot of ways that's necessary, almost like a Wes Watson approach. But at the same time, can you also be malleable enough to where you can lead people the most efficient way while still being true to who you are? And dude, it's hard. It's tough because, like you said, everyone's different, man. Everyone's got different thresholds, different perspectives, mindsets. So,
Yeah, brother. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree with you. It's funny because when you look at it, like you said, all the approaches are different. So for me, the other day, I actually ran into this entrepreneurship group that we're paying a lot of money to be in monthly. And this guy was on a fucking Instagram live and was like, that West guy, he's a bully. And once he said that, I was like, bro, you're a bitch. Like, and I was just thinking, and I'm like, I shouldn't think that way. You know, that's the way people will say. But I analyze people, I analyze situations, and that I'm like, it's intimidation, bro. Like, you don't want to be in a room with someone like that. For
right.
most people are going to be intimidated. Oh, fuck, this dude's that. I'm
Yeah.
the dude who's like, nah, fuck that. I want to be around him. I want to see what's up. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
Hell yeah.
I'm with these people that are all in, full send it or not, being the
Yep.
best they can be. And that's why I love you, brother. It's like you're continually doing that and channeling all that energy. And it was funny because learning that within that group and really just sat with that for about 2 weeks, bro. I was just pissed. Like, I was just like, I don't want to fucking hear this dude. Anything
Right.
he
Right.
says. I realized it was systematic beliefs as well. You know, where I'm from, where he's from, he's close with his family and that. And you mentioned um, really figuring out, you know, what is for you. And for me, it's like this dude's close to this family. I'm not close to my family. Like one of the things I used to make fun of my wife or people for is like you talk to your family every day. Like how? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
In
Right.
my case, it was like I had that disconnect, you know. So
Mhm.
I seen it. I'm like, okay, it is what it is, and there's some truth to both sides. But you're right. You know, we have to lead people in the way that they want to be, and then show it. And for me, it was the inability to communicate when it was
Yeah.
leading from that wrong way versus being like, hey, man, I understand. But the reality is, most situations, most places, it wouldn't work out like that. You know,
Yeah.
people understand fear and intimidation. And if you show signs of weakness, they're going to eat it up, you know, and that's the way I process it. My logic, what I've been through, you know, the military side as well as that, you know. So I love that you really said that. It's like being a leader sucks sometimes because it's all these different things. And
Mhm.
you also mentioned your accident. So let's touch up there because I don't want to miss that. But
Yeah.
you mentioned a little bit of what it was. Could we talk about the aftermath? And then really when you started to understand, hey, this is how we can move forward, look at that with a better outlook. 'Cause I know it probably wasn't always gravy for you, brother.
No, man. I look back now as one of the greatest things that ever happened. But so as far as the actual accident, 'cause I want to get more into the mindset stuff. So I had just bought my dream bike. I had a Ducati Panigale. I was out in Southern California. Um, I think I had the bike for like 3 weeks. I'd rode sports bikes ever since I was 18, but I think I was 25 at this point, and I was coming off a desert road, and I was going fast. I was going real fast, and I'd slowed down, kind of coming into like more of the city, and I came out from behind a van right before the intersection. Silly move on my part, honestly, but came out from the side, and an SUV was trying to turn in front of the van. Was honestly going to kind of cut the van off a little bit. Shouldn't have really made the turn. I was going significantly faster than the van, so just came out from behind and boom, smashed into this SUV. Police report said I was going about 85 miles an hour, which is it's real hard to believe that, dude, because I have family friends that have like been killed on bike accidents going half that speed. And so, I don't want to downplay it, but by the time I hit the brakes, I might have been going 60, but I was hauling ass, dude. I was hauling ass. My bike was in pieces. And craziest thing in the world is I had a passenger on the back. And I took so much of the force between her and the SUV. She got a hairline fracture on her ankle. And I shattered my pelvis. My abs tore off my pelvis, but I broke both wrists. Left arm fracture in both the ulna and the radius. Broke the left elbow. Tore my urethra, so I was pissing out of into a tube for a couple weeks. And yeah, man, I got pretty messed up. And so, went through the whole thing. I came back to consciousness on the middle of the street. And I was in medical sales, so I was very in tune with like medical and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember telling myself, like, don't fall asleep. So I didn't know if I had internal bleeding. My left arm was mangled. And then the EMT showed up. You know, they touched the bottom of my feet because I couldn't move. I thought I was paralyzed, and you know, I felt sensation when they touched my feet, which was awesome. So then I kind of knew I wasn't paralyzed. But after that, man, it was a good 2 to 3 weeks in the hospital of just learning how to walk again. I had 9 surgeries in that term, or 8 surgeries in that time. Ended up having surgery on my right wrist a few months later because that went unnoticed on the X-ray. So I had a broken wrist for a couple months and didn't know it. And so yeah, I went through that whole process, bro, and just it was a wild trip, I'll tell you that. So I don't know if you had any questions before that, but I'm happy to get into some of the mindset stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, I love that, and thank you for sharing, brother. And that'll be the next part. You know, next part, when it goes into mindset. I mean, I see you in the gym, bro, and you're fucking posting about the injuries you have, and then putting up weight. It's one thing to say I have injuries, and then here's what I'm doing, and whatever. But like, you're still going, form is immaculate,
thanks,
pushing
dog.
up the weight. How the fuck are you able to do that, brother?
Hey, the form, dude. Thank you for pointing that out. Cause that's the one thing, man. I see some of these guys doing squats and they're fucking, 10, 15 degrees above 90. And I'm over here, the shattered pelvis previous. I'm gonna get your fucking ass down to the floor. But dude, consistency, man, consistency. And I've never had this mindset that I was always going to be crippled. I was going to be skinny. You know, my doctors told me I'm going to need 2 new hips. He's told me other issues I might face. And so, of course, I want to defy that. You know, you hear of all these stories. Oh, I was told I'd never walk again, and I am. I was paralyzed for a while. Now I'm walking again. So it's like if people can have that happen to them, where they have like spinal injuries, which I'm so thankful I didn't. Dude, at the end of the day, I look at it as like I broke a few bones. Like I downplay my injuries and I upplay my potential. And so I just get in the gym and dude, do I have some pain here and there? I do. But you know what I also have is a shitload of hardware holding these things together. So I'm good, man. Like the body's strong, the mind's even stronger. And I just tell myself if I show up every single day and I just lift weight that's really, really heavy, regardless of my rep range, I'm going to grow. I'm going to get bigger. It literally has to happen. Pair that up with good nutrition and you're golden. So
Ooh, man, that was incredible. And yeah, that was something I noticed was the form. Because I was looking at my inconsistencies, and one, it was the nutrition. My
mhm.
thing is I've been at it for years, bro. Like I've always been in the gym, literally since I was 13 years old. My problem
Oh yeah.
was first I didn't know about the adequate nutrition. Because my mom's side were lower to middle class. We had fucking all this snacks and goodies and whatever.
Toaster
There was no
strudels.
fucking nutrition in that house.
Right,
The
right.
most I knew was like eating a steak, you know. And then my dad's side was, hey, you better eat this, but it was restrictive, so I never really learned for myself. Or it was like, oh, why do we eat rice and chicken and broccoli every night? Because it's good. Because it makes you it has protein in it. And then
Right.
two, I just heard everything, and that was before the challenge everything. So fucking I was just believing these things. So for me, it was the adequate nutrition. And then when I started working on myself, hey, good morning. The little ones out.
Well,
When I started working through the injuries, what's up? Yeah, there's colors. When I started working through the injuries, it was funny because it was learning about technique and why I wasn't showing up and why I didn't squat for 5.5 years. So that was something I shared with you, was like, hey, I took this time to work on my hamstrings, work on everything. Cause I was like, my knees are done. Like you said, every day is pain, even when you're working out or you're trying to figure some shit out. And that was
yep.
something I used to just stray away from. And then I realized as well, like you have to attack it. And even the other day, you have 10 sets of 10 on legs.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go 70, 60, 70%, you know, and have that weight the whole time. No, my fucking ass is like, oh, I can do 225, 10 times 6 of the sets. And then
Right,
I
right.
do it. And one of my buddies is like, damn, how did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I just kept pushing myself and made it happen.
Yep.
And yeah, doggies are all playing, huh? That was the crazy thing about it, was pushing to that extent. So when you were saying that, and hey, you know, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, that was it for me, because that was where I used to get hung up on, or I would fucking start reverting back to the old self of
Yep.
not knowing who I was, whatever it is, because I'm like, I'm in the gym every day, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating clean, I'm sticking to the macros. Why do my fucking elbows feel so bad every day? Why does this, like, this is frustrating, you know? Oh,
Yep.
it's a low testosterone. Oh, it's this. And I'm blaming it on all these fucking things versus seeing it as, hey, I got to show up with better energy and I got
Yeah.
to be better. So when we're talking about the leadership and the way we lead, and especially explaining that journey, what is the thing that allows us to tap into that person so they can understand, hey, we need to make the change now and take action today?
Man, that's a great fucking question. Dude, I think ultimately, it sounds cliche to say this, but man, purpose, like just truly purpose. And I don't mean just like, oh, I do it for my kids, or oh, I just want to like change people's lives, but like how, how, why do you do it for your kids? Like, honestly, why do you do it for your kids? Is it because you just see all these cool parenting posts on Instagram and you want to like be a part of that? Or is it because you truly want to raise your kids in a way that you weren't raised? And so I think tapping into that greater purpose, and then ultimately, man, I balance that with also I have this like fuck it mindset. And what I mean by that is like, dude, when you're almost killed, you just realize how short life is. And you also realize that nothing really truly matters. Like we're here for 80, 90, 100 years, dude. Like what the fuck really matters? Like if we're believing in afterlife and spirituality and all these things, it doesn't really matter. So it's like, why not just maximize what you're doing in life? And so you combine the purpose that you have down here with that like fuck it mindset, where it's like that healthy, calculated mindset. I mean, dude, you're gonna go all in on stuff. That's where you're gonna find your passion. That's where you're gonna find your, just your zest, man, your zest for life. So it works for me. And I think everyone taps into different things at different times of their life. For a while there, it might have been anger versus purpose. But for me, at least right now, it's purpose, man. It's purpose and just knowing that we're here for a short time.
Oh, I love that, and that's something I realized in my life as well with just drinking. I was drinking a gallon of whiskey and partying, and my
Yeah.
logic behind that was, hey, I'm my own boss. I'm going to school. I'm doing everything I need to be. Like I'm better than off than everyone else. So for me, it's definitely that competitiveness.
Yep.
But two, like I said, it was not knowing who I am, and then running into the issue of, hey, do I know how to fit into a fucking family? Because I'm so
Yeah.
competitive, I can't even stay still. And everything is a competition, but you don't have to announce that it's a competition. And
Yes.
that's the thing, I would announce every fucking thing. If it was drinking water, oh, it's a competition, because I was just out to prove myself.
Yep.
Which, you talked about alignment and figuring out, hey, how do we show up? What's important to us? That was something for me as well. Was I was going away from myself by doing all these fucking things that
Yeah.
weren't getting me to be the best dad, weren't getting me to be the best husband, and going down a dangerous path.
Yep.
So when it comes to your daughter, brother, you're always posting what she's doing, and it's awesome because you're always there. You're fully present. You're
Yep.
being the father that you admire. Could you talk a little bit about the process it was for you to become a better father, and then showing up, and then the energy behind that as well once you started doing all those things?
Yeah, dude. Another great fucking point, man. This podcast will be like 4 hours. uh, dude. So not having a dad growing up, dude, was one of the greatest blessings. And I've literally sat my dad down to his face and told him, thank you for not being there. Like, and I genuinely mean that. It sucked in certain ways, but it was also amazing in certain ways because I am literally a father to my little girl that I otherwise wouldn't have been if I think he was around. And that's arguable. I mean, look, if you're listening to this and you've got a great father, amazing. Like soak that up, because if I could go back and do it all over again, I would still have the same path. But if I also had a killer dad, awesome. So I'm just saying, like, the way you grew up, your perspective on how you grew up and making that a superpower, regardless of what it was, is absolutely key to your growth and how you live. And so for me, I just tapped into that, man. And so, I have a little sister who's 3 years younger than me. I was the man of the house at a very young age, a toxic man of the house at that. But I was very protective of my family. And so for me, it pained me more to watch my little sister grow up without a father. And when I had my daughter, I just sat back and asked myself, like, man, how could my dad like not raise this little girl? How could he have not raised my sister? Like, I'm a man, I'll take care of myself, but like, I have this little girl in front of me that I'm never gonna fucking abandon ever. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna go as hard as I can for her. And so that helped me tap in. And then, dude, ultimately, the second part of it is like, these kids don't ask to be brought into this life. Like, we bring them in. It's our choice.
Yeah.
We're the ones that have these kids. So like, why are you gonna bring this kid into this life and then like fuck around? It's like, and look, you can go out and do your thing, but like, you can live your life however you want to live, whether you're in a family, whether you're a single parent, whether you're an entrepreneur, a W-2, whatever it is. Like, we all have vices, but like, just make sure it's as conducive as possible to your growth. and that you're showing up for your kids as best as possible, because none of us are perfect, but like, dude, we can't also use that as a crutch. Like, oh, we're not perfect, so I'm just gonna go fuck around and drink on a Tuesday. No, stop being a piece of shit. That's no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bro, I
come on.
that's fucking crazy. That's what's crazy when you do the work is people can literally, God damn, somebody's blowing up my Instagram. That's what's funny is when you start doing the work, you attract that. And that's exactly where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Is going through those stages where you're like, fuck, dude, I'm just really appreciative of it. Because the other day, I was talking to my wife and then kind of came up and someone was like, oh, if you could do everything the way you did, would you still do it? And I go, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said that to my wife, she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, you know what? I'm cool with that. Like my dad didn't teach me how to be a man. My dad taught me how to be a hustler. And I was like,
Mhm.
it sucks because there's still conversations I can never have with him. It is the way it is. He's a tough guy. We duke it out. But I needed that. I was the
Yeah.
mama's boy who wanted to be nice and the world was eating me alive. So I needed that.
Yeah.
And then someone was like, well, it's not your fault. You didn't deserve that thing. It doesn't fucking matter. Like for me, that's what I needed for the growth to get better. And then I
Yeah.
had a stepdad that was conservative and that would question everything and don't act black and don't be this and always focus with the negative in the world. But I would question about, hey, why aren't you doing this? He's a factory worker. My thing was, is I seen the potential that he could be something great, but he look
Mhm.
himself in the face every day and not do that, or oh, I'm gonna fuck around. Oh, I'm just gonna hang out and work on my Harley. Like just wanted to be that type guy. So for me, it
Yeah.
was funny because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, it's unfathomable now, understanding that hey, even our parents understood the problem, but they were doing the best that they could at the time.
Yes.
And I was like, it's just crazy to me for us to have the actualization and then not take action upon it and not say, hey, this happened to us. We're not fucking doing anything. You talked about it is, hey, if you're not the best man you can be, your daughter's going to attract that. And
That's
that
right.
was something for me where it was like, bro, just looking back and noticing that with people, or I was like, another test, and for people is like, you just got to look at the way someone treats their kids, especially, they have a daughter, they have a son. Look at how they treat their son. And then you're going to know exactly everything you need to know about them.
That's it,
If
dude.
they're stern, whatever it is. And I said that in front of people. They're like, what do you mean? And then we watch somebody and they were just like super cool with their son. And they're like, he disciplines them. They're
Yeah.
good friends. He can move on. He's showing that he's a great leader. And it's funny because people don't realize that correlation. They don't
No.
realize like what it means when you do the minute things important and to the utmost of your ability.
Yes, dude. I literally had that word in my head, minute. That's what it is. It's the small shit, man. Like it really is, because how are dreams built? One brick at a time. How's a life built? One day, one moment at a time. So it's like I agree, man. If you're mean to animals or mean to kids, it's like that's a big red flag. And I mean mean like outside of your lines, you know what I mean? So it's yeah, dude. I just think there's a lot of accountability that needs to be drawn when you're a parent. Everything is ultimately your fault in of itself, and every kid's also going to be different and command different types of like discipline, and you got to really understand your kid. And that's the thing, dude, like you said earlier, when you're present with your child, you're going to understand your child and what they need. And it's not easy, dude. It's not. Parenting is not easy at all, but you got to manage your dichotomies. You got to know when to be emotionally available and when you need to be hard as fucking nails. And my daughter knows that. Like my daughter knows. It's to the point where I can give her a look and be like, you really want to do this right now? And dude, sometimes she's in the mood to go to battle and we'll go to battle. And sometimes she's not in the mood to go to battle. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to go to battle. So it's like this, it's just crazy, man. But you do the best you can, and you communicate and you show up and you're present
Yeah.
and you own up. Dude, anytime I make a mistake, I own up to it. She owns up to her mistakes. We have heart to hearts. Dude, we have conversations with her being 6 years old that a lot of parents would probably be like, why are you having this conversation with her? And I'm like, this is fucking real world. This is a real world. I shelter her from appropriate things. She's not watching horror films at 6 years old, but we have real conversations, man. We have real conversations, and she's extremely wise for her age. She's very wise. She doesn't take a lot personal. She gets over things. She's emotionally
It's
intelligent.
awesome.
And dude, yeah, I'm just really proud of who she is. And I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't take some of that credit, but I also know mom's doing a good job. Her school does a good job. And so, yeah, man, but it's
No,
it's
that
all
that's that's incredible. And definitely when you're talking about helping out with the school and just being the best that you can be and it's showing, especially with her and the way she's embodying the characteristics. And that's
yeah,
something for me, even with my 2-year-old. Like I'm always reading books, so she'll be like, Dad, books. And then she'll come sit next to me.
Oh yeah.
And this kid's fucking smart, like says sentences. No, I
That's
don't like
awesome.
that. Can you please stop? The
I
reason why I
love
was
that, dude.
laughing is because you're talking about if they want to go to war or not. This fucking kid, right? She's a little asshole. Yesterday, she goes, last night, mom's not feeling good, so mom's asleep. She's like, Dad, I want cereal. I'm like, all right, cool. And then she's like, do you want to eat cereal with me? And I was like, of course, you know? So in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, oh shit, I got a little bit of room. I'm gonna go over on the macros, but whatever. I got a protein cereal, a little bit of carbs. I'll be all right. So I'm eating the cereal. She has a fucking bottle next to her, and she just like a water bottle, and just launches it in the cereal. And then she goes, "Oh no, what happened?" And I was like, "Bro, what the fuck?"
What do you
And
think
she's like, "What
happened?
the fuck?" And bro, I was laughing so fucking hard. I didn't even get mad. I was like, "I'm sorry, I should have said that." She starts mocking me, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I thought we're just eating fucking cereal right now, bro." Like, I
Yeah.
could easily
Burning
lose
it
my
down.
shit. But two, it's like it's the moments that make or break it. You know, you're gonna
Yeah.
understand that. And that was something I thought was funny when you were talking because I was like, bro, normal me would have just flipped shit, getting mad at her, what the fuck, you know. And then it
Yeah.
was really just being in that moment and being like, hey, this is fucking funny, regardless, you know,
Yeah.
cleaning the fucking cereal off the floor because they're eating on the floor. Um, so it was funny because when we're talking and you're saying all these things and showing up every day, like it's the small things, you know, and I 100% agree. You know, when you operate too off what you didn't have, not saying that what you had was bad. You know, for me, it was cool, but like now looking at it, it was just extremely average, like below average, especially when comes to the concept of money and
Yeah.
saying like we can't live in abundance or like, oh, we can't get that because I don't have money. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't do that because I don't have money right now. Like now, those are things that I don't even fucking think about. I'm just like, fucking, I'll figure out a way to invest it. Oh, this
Yeah.
money will come back tenfold. Um, Now with this coaching business, like, oh, I got a client, cool. That means 10 more are coming. Like it's just a different
Yeah.
way of thinking versus before where it's like we came from this survival, this struggle mentality. It's not saying like now I don't even look at it as, oh, it's me versus where I was before. It's just like, wow, dude, it's crazy when you come from that and then you live in this part of just not even worrying about whatever because you know it's going to come in life. You do all the small things important. So before we wrap up the podcast, let's wrap that up. When you do all the small things to the best of your ability, when you have that foundation built, what is that final product looking like for you? And what are the repercussions from that when you're continuously showing who you are, what you're about, and then embodying that every day,
Man, yeah. So, and now do you mean on the personal front, professional, or just all around?
all around?
All around, man. So, yeah, I mean, dude, laying these bricks, it's first and foremost raising a successful little girl who understands the world, who understands herself, who knows how to draw lines, but she's also compassionate. She understands the law of attraction. She has a good relationship with her faith, regardless of what that looks like. That's first and foremost. Secondly, it's my surrounding family being taken care of, being proud, and that's financially, emotionally being there for them, being proud of me being proud of them. So, like I said, family and daughters, that they're set, they're living life, they're doing well. Um, I've got a successful real estate company, commercial developer. I'm doing some wholesaling as well. So again, providing opportunity to the people that work with me or for me in that company, as well as the high performance coaching, man, just changing lives and just getting people to just push their lives to, again, their truest potential and being real as fuck with who they are. And again, I don't care what kind of life you live, as long as you have the core fundamentals. If you're a good human, if you got good morals, good ethics, and you just do right by people, I don't care how much money you want to make. I don't care if you're single or married. I don't care if you're gay or straight. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, as long as you're a good human, and I want to work with people like that. And I want to take those people to their truest potential. And then outside of that, man, it's just my health and my fitness, dude. I want to continue to build my body into a fucking Greek temple and just draw heads everywhere I go. Not because I necessarily want the attention. Of course I do. Anyone that tells you they don't, that's bullshit. Everyone wants to look good for some
Yeah,
attention.
everybody wants the attention. I hate when
Oh,
fucking people say that shit, dude. Like
dude.
everybody wants the attention.
I know, like that's like I'll make posts too where I always joke around. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just kidding. I am trying to brag because there's nothing fucking wrong with bragging either. But I want to do, yeah. So I want to be healthy. I want to look good, and ultimately because I want to inspire other people. Because dude, if you can feel good, look good, take care of your family, everything's just thriving. Everything's thriving. So that when something does come your way that knocks you off course, you have all these foundational things that get you right back on track. You know, so if me and my daughter have a little bump in the road, I know all these other things that are going really well are just going to pour right back into that. So long-winded, that's what that looks like, man. It's just thriving on all levels.
Hell yeah, brother. And that's exactly why I asked you that specifically. I knew you were going to talk about the physique. So I'll have your Instagram in the show notes.
Yeah.
Everybody can come check you out. But the reason why is because I was explaining that with the client. And I literally told him, bro, I'm going to go on a podcast interview at 8 my time. And this is one you should listen to because the man I'm speaking with has been there. He's done that and he's became the man that he admires. So it's funny because I told him exactly that, is
That's
his
awesome,
answer
bro.
is going to be when you come at all fronts and you're the best you can be all the way around, you have the foundational principle set, everything in life is good. And I literally explained it that way, where if you have 8 things that you do a day, that ninth that you don't do, you have all these ones that you fall back on. You have who you
Yeah.
embody, what you do. I talk about that all the time. I don't say I get to, I don't say I have to, I just say I do daily posts on social media. I do lives every day.
Yeah.
I do not think about negative energy, whatever.
Yeah.
And I started just rephrasing it to like, this is what I do. This is how I show up. And I do not be an asshole when clients piss me off. And I just like go down the line and I'm like, all right, this is a simple affirmation. It's whatever it is that gets me through it. And this client was being stubborn. He's like, I can't, like, for some reason, I hate social media. I hate this bad. And I'm like, if you focus on the negative, that's what's going to happen. So just refract it or
Yeah.
write down why are you going to fail, every single reason why you're going to fail. And then you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
well, it looks like I'm not doing that. It's the same thing. It's like people
Yeah.
don't understand that and they don't have that foundational set and whatever it is. And that's what I explained. And I explain to people all the time is like, it doesn't matter what happens in my life. You're still going to see me in the gym. You're still going to see me eating clean, sticking to the macros, doing what's important to me, regardless of how I am, how I feel.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be that. If I can't fucking squat, cool, I'm going to walk. If I can't do push-ups, move on to the next thing, bands, whatever it needed to be. Like I literally this week, I reordered one of those elevation. What is it? One of the elevation stands for squatting
Okay.
because it lets you get a further range of motion and start working on that. And that was something I used to do when I used to go to physical therapy and stuff
Yeah.
back in the day. And I knew that helped my legs out. But I'm like, dude, that would probably be incredible. Do 150 of those a day
Yeah.
just to start off, focus on the knees, do that every day. And like, I think about it. It's not something I want to do. And really, there was no conversation in my head about what I wanted to do. It was like, hey, this is where I am. This is the goal. This is what's going to get me there. There's no emotion in that. So I love the way you presented that as well,
Yeah.
because people like to get hung up on their emotions and whatever. And it's like, we can do that, but it's not going to get us to where we want to be. So wrapping
Yep.
the show up here now, brother, what would you say to the previous version of ourselves? We don't know what to do or how to get started. We just want to align ourselves with our definition of success.
Ooh, man. First and foremost, just get started. Like that's what I would say to my younger self, our younger selves. Get started. You don't need as deep of a plan as you think. And two, just tap into that deeper part of yourself and really try to listen to it. We all know what we want or don't want. We all know, like for example, your client. We know if he is saying that he hates social media because he genuinely does not see a need to be on it versus he hates it because he knows he should be on it and he's not. You know, we all know if we're hating on somebody because we're jealous
Yep.
of them, like shit like that. So really listen to what it is you want and follow that. So if you're 18 and you're listening to this and you don't feel like going to college because you want to go do something that doesn't involve a college degree, don't fucking go to college. Go pursue this. And then, like I said, tie that in with the first piece of advice. Don't wait. Just go. Just get started because you're going to be 30, 40, 50, 80, 90 years old before you know it. So,
Ooh, I love that college
yeah.
one, bro, because I've learned way more outside of college than actually in college.
Right.
And then got told about the degree I got. Oh, you wanted to take it easy and not take a couple classes, so now you look like shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, does it really matter?
Dude, I know, man. The only thing I learned in college was going out to the bar and learn how to talk to women. I mean, that was, you know,
Yeah,
that
dude.
was about it, dude. Like, I mean, college wasn't that great for me personally. And I got a sales degree, so it was like, but I agree. And I think, look, college has its, depending on what you want to do, white collar or not, but you kind of know if you want to go, if you want to go into medicine and help people, yeah, go to college, go to that accredited school, work your ass off. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't really need a business degree. So
it was one of the things for me that I said I was gonna do, so I just did it.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what it stuck to. When I really looked at it, I was like, I was in sales already, so you don't need a degree for sales. And then I got a
Right.
business management degree. What is it with the emphasis in entrepreneurship? And I was like, oh, entrepreneurship classes were dope though. It was cool, like an e-commerce class, but it was looking at it and I was like, hey, I said I was gonna do this. I'm gonna fucking do it and done with
Yep.
it. Then move on. And then one of my buddies was a doctor that's at USC, a business coach, and he's like, "Oh, you should go. You know, I wrote you a letter of recommendation." He sent it to me, and I was just like, "It doesn't align to me though. Like, what am I gonna do? Just go to fucking school longer, write these
Yeah.
papers like as is." Like, I was turning in shit sometimes because I was just like, "Nah, fuck this. I don't want to do it." You know. And again,
Yep.
with that mindset, isn't great things. So I was like, I know for me, I'm still stuck there. It's not gonna get me anywhere because I already have this bad picture of it.
Yep.
So went 100% into sales, into the podcast and entrepreneurship. And then the fruit started coming out of that of, hey, it's having your own business. So love that you
Yep.
mentioned that because that's something I went through as well. Where can people find you, brother, if they want to keep up with you, they want to hear more of you, brother?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I'm on Instagram. So just the and then my first and last name. So the Chris Gormley. Same thing with Facebook, LinkedIn, and that's really about it. Those are those three. So the Chris Gormley, and then my website, thechrisgormley.com. And then if you're interested more like learning about real estate or what I do with the real estate, my company is Network Ventures. So if you go to networkventuresgroup.com, you can check some of that stuff out. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah, guys. Well,
So
we're going to have it in the show notes, like I said, so everybody can check you out. But thank you again, brother. It was an immense honor. And I know I'd love to have you on for a second time in the future.
let's run it, my man. Thank you for bringing me on. This is badass. I appreciate it.